The call came at 3:47 a.m. on a Thursday in September. Miss Park, this is Portland Fire Department. Your warehouse at 2847 Industrial Boulevard is fully engulfed. We need you on site. I drove through empty streets with my heart hammering. The orange glow was visible 2 miles away. By the time I arrived, the entire structure was collapsing inward, flames shooting 40 feet into the night sky. 6 fire trucks surrounded the building, crews pouring water that seemed to accomplish nothing. Fire Chief Rodriguez met me at the perimeter tape. Total loss, he said. Started around 2:30 a.m. based on the 911 call. Moved fast. Unusually fast. I watched $4 million in medical supply inventory turn to ash. Surgical equipment, pharmaceutical storage, specialized refrigeration units, all gone. The warehouse serviced 17 hospitals across Oregon and Washington. I'd spent 6 years building the business from nothing. My phone buzzed. Text from my stepfather Gerald. Saw the news. Thank God you weren't inside. Call me. I stared at the message. The fire had been burning for barely an hour. Local news wouldn't have picked it up yet. Friday morning, Gerald called an emergency family meeting at his house in West Lynn. I arrived at 10 a.m. to find my mother, my younger brother David, and Gerald's sister Patricia already seated around the dining table. Gerald stood at the head like a corporate executive. He'd married my mother 3 years ago, 6 months after my father died of a heart attack. He sold commercial insurance. The irony wasn't lost on me. Angela, sit down, he said. We need to discuss your situation. I sat. The warehouse is a total loss, Gerald continued. I've already contacted your insurance carrier. They're prepared to offer an immediate settlement, $2.3 million, cash, within 30 days. The building and inventory are insured for $6.2 million, I said. That's replacement value. Settlement value is different. He slid papers across the table. This is a standard release form. Sign it, take the money, and rebuild somewhere else. The insurance company wants to close this quickly. My mother reached over and squeezed my hand. Honey, Gerald knows what he's doing. This is his business. Take the settlement and start fresh. I looked at the papers. The insurance company letterhead looked legitimate, but something felt wrong. The settlement offer was dated Thursday, yesterday at 4:15 p.m., 6 hours before the fire started. This is dated before the fire, I said. Gerald didn't miss a beat. Pre-approved settlement structure. Insurance companies use them for high-value commercial properties. Speeds up the process. David nodded along. Makes sense. Take the money, Ang. You can rebuild. Patricia, who'd been quiet, spoke up. Gerald helped a client get a settlement like this last year. Very standard. I picked up the papers. I need time to review with my attorney. Gerald's expression hardened. The offer expires Monday. After that you go through standard claims processing. Takes months, maybe years. Meanwhile, you have no income, and 17 hospitals looking for new suppliers. Mom's grip tightened on my hand. Please, Angela, let Gerald help you. I looked at my mother. She'd lost weight since marrying Gerald. Stopped seeing her friends. Made excuses when I invited her to lunch. The woman squeezing my hand wasn't the person who'd raised me. I'll think about it, I said. Gerald's jaw clenched. Monday, Angela. Don't be stupid about this. I drove straight to my attorney's office. James Morton had handled my business incorporation, contracts and liability issues for 5 years. I showed him the settlement papers. This is garbage, he said after 2 minutes of review. This isn't from your insurance company. Look at the routing number. This is a private account. My stomach dropped. Whose account? James pulled up corporate records. GM's Holdings LLC, registered in Delaware 3 months ago. He kept typing. Sole owner, Gerald Michael Sullivan, my stepfather. He's trying to buy your insurance claim, James said. Take your $6.2 million payout, and give you $2.3 million for it. Pocket $3.9 million. Is that legal? If you signed voluntarily, yes. It's technically a settlement purchase. Predatory as hell but legal. James leaned back. But here's what bothers me. This is dated before the fire. He knew the warehouse would burn. The room tilted slightly. I need you to think carefully, James said. Has Gerald been asking about the warehouse? Visiting the site? Asking about your insurance coverage? I thought back over the past 2 months. Gerald had visited the warehouse twice in August. Unusual since he'd never shown interest in my business before. He'd asked detailed questions about inventory value. insurance coverage limits, security systems. He'd wanted a tour of the fire suppression equipment. He disabled something, I said quietly. James picked up his phone. I'm calling the fire marshal. That afternoon, State Fire Marshal Thompson arrived at James's office with 2 investigators. I provided a timeline of Gerald's visits and questions. They listened without interrupting. Miss Park, Thompson said, arson investigations take time. We need evidence, not suspicion. I might have evidence, I said. 3 weeks earlier I'd installed upgraded security cameras after noticing someone had tampered with the warehouse's rear door. The system uploaded footage to cloud storage every hour. I'd never mentioned it to anyone. Not Mom, not David, not Gerald. I pulled up the footage on James's computer. August 14th, 10:47 p.m. Gerald's Mercedes in the parking lot. He exits carrying a bag, uses a key to enter the warehouse. The key I'd given to Mom for emergencies. August 19th, 11:23 p.m. Gerald again, this time with another man. They spend 40 minutes inside. When they leave, Gerald carries a plastic case. September 12th, 1:58 a.m. 2 men enter the warehouse. One is the same man from August 19th. They move through the building methodically. At 2:14 a.m., smoke appears. At 2:19 a.m., flames are visible. They exit at 2:22 a.m. and drive away in a white van. Thompson's expression never changed. Send me this footage immediately. All of it. One of the investigators, a woman named Rivera, looked at me. Do you have any other documentation? I opened my phone. Text messages. He's been asking about my insurance policy for months. I showed them conversations going back to July. Gerald asking about coverage limits, deductibles, claim procedures. At the time I'd thought he was being helpful. In hindsight, every question was reconnaissance. There's something else, I said. Last week I found a receipt in Mom's car. I thought she'd bought gardening supplies. I pulled up the photo I'd taken. The receipt was from a farm supply store in Gresham. $347.82 for kerosene, road flares, and industrial rags. Purchased by Gerald Sullivan on September 8th, 5 days before the fire. Thompson stood. Miss Park, don't sign anything. Don't speak to Gerald or your family about this conversation. We'll be in touch. They left. James looked at me with something like awe. You documented everything. My father taught me to keep records, I said. He said trust but verify. Your father would be proud. Saturday morning, Gerald called 6 times. I didn't answer. Mom called twice, worried. David sent texts asking if I was okay. I spent the day with my insurance company's real adjuster, not Gerald's fake settlement company. The actual coverage was $6.2 million, and the claim process had been initiated Friday by the fire department. Settlement would take 60-90 days, but I qualified for immediate loss of income payments. Sunday evening, Thompson called. We've completed preliminary forensic analysis. Your warehouse had 3 separate ignition points, professional accelerant patterns. Fire suppression system was manually disabled. We found traces of kerosene and diesel mixture. Matches the receipts you provided. What happens now? Monday morning we execute search warrants and conduct interviews. Keep your phone on. Monday at 6:15 a.m., Gerald called again. I answered this time. Have you made a decision? He asked, voice tight with stress. I need to see you, I said. Can you come to the warehouse site? I want to show you something before I sign. Silence. Then what do you need to show me? Insurance adjuster wants to walk the property with family present. Required for settlement release. Can you meet me there at 9 a.m.? Fine. I'll bring your mother. I hung up and called Thompson. He's coming. At 8:45 a.m., I stood in the warehouse parking lot with Thompson, Rivera, and 6 other investigators. 8 total. 3 unmarked cars were positioned on surrounding streets. Gerald's Mercedes arrived at 9:02 a.m. Mom was in the passenger seat, looking confused. Gerald got out, saw the investigators, and froze. Angela, what's going on? Thompson stepped forward. Mr. Sullivan, I'm State Fire Marshal Thompson. We need to ask you some questions about the fire at this location. I don't know anything about the fire. I'm just helping my stepdaughter with insurance. Rivera held up a tablet showing the security footage. This is you entering the warehouse on August 14th at 10:47 p.m. And here again on August 19th, with an accomplice. What were you doing inside? Gerald's face went pale. I was checking the property for Angela, with kerosene and road flares. Thompson showed the farm supply receipt. Purchased by you on September 8th. Forensic analysis confirms kerosene traces at all 3 ignition points. Mom got out of the car. What's happening? Gerald, this is insane, Gerald said. I was helping her. You were attempting insurance fraud, Thompson said. You disabled the fire suppression system, used your wife's emergency key for access, hired an accomplice to set the fire, and attempted to purchase the insurance claim at 37 cents on the dollar. I stepped forward. You knew about the settlement papers before the fire happened. You knew because you planned the fire. Gerald looked at me with pure hatred. You ungrateful. You're under arrest for arson and insurance fraud, Thompson said. 2 investigators moved forward with handcuffs. Mom started crying. Gerald, tell them this is a mistake. But Gerald wasn't looking at her. He was looking at me. Your father built that business, and you drove it into the ground. I was saving it. My father died 3 years ago, I said quietly. The warehouse didn't exist when he was alive. I built it myself, and I own it. Not you, not Mom, not the family. Me. Thompson turned to Rivera. Coordinate with Portland PD. We have 2 more arrests. Rivera spoke into her radio. Team 2, move on the accomplice at his residence. Team 3, pick up the insurance adjuster at his office. Gerald lunged toward me. The investigators grabbed him. You destroyed this family. You burned down my business for $4 million, I said. That destroyed the family. They put Gerald in a patrol car. Mom stood in the parking lot sobbing. David's truck pulled up. He'd been told to come for settlement signing. He got out, saw Gerald in handcuffs, and went white. What did you do? David asked me. I documented evidence of arson and insurance fraud, I said. Gerald set my warehouse on fire. You're lying. Gerald wouldn't. Thompson handed David a tablet showing the security footage. David watched in silence. Mom knew. David asked quietly. No, I said. The key was hers, but he took it without telling her. Mom walked over, mascara streaking her face. I didn't know. Angela, I swear I didn't know. I believed her. Mom was a victim too, of Gerald's manipulation, his control, his greed. The kerosene receipt was in your car, I said gently. They'll need to question you. I never saw that receipt. I didn't know he bought anything. Mom's voice broke. I thought he loved me. He loved your access to my business, I said. Thompson approached. Miss Park, we'll need formal statements from you today. Your security footage and documentation were critical. Without that evidence, we'd be looking at months of investigation. Rivera added, the accomplice is in custody. The insurance adjuster fled. We have an APB out. Gerald's phone records show coordination between all 3. David got back in his truck without a word, and drove away. Mom sat on the curb, destroyed. I looked at the burned warehouse. The walls were still standing, somehow, blackened and broken but standing, like me. The trial took 11 months. Gerald pleaded guilty to arson, insurance fraud, and conspiracy. He got 15 years in federal prison. The accomplice got 8 years. The insurance adjuster was caught in Mexico and extradited. He got 12 years. Mom divorced Gerald while he was awaiting trial. She moved to Seattle to live with her sister. We talk on the phone every Sunday now. Not like before, but we're rebuilding. David apologized 6 months later. He'd believed Gerald's story about me running the business into debt. Gerald had shown him fabricated financial statements, made him think the warehouse was failing. David hadn't known the arson was planned, but he'd supported the settlement because he thought I needed to be saved from myself. The insurance paid out $6.2 million. I rebuilt the warehouse with upgraded systems, better security, better fire suppression, better everything. The business lost some hospital contracts during the downtime, but I gained new ones. On the day the new warehouse opened, I placed a photo of my father in my office. He'd been a firefighter for 30 years, died fighting a warehouse fire in 2021. He taught me to document everything, trust but verify, and never let anyone make you feel small. Gerald tried to make me small, tried to steal what I'd built, tried to burn it all down. But the evidence I'd quietly compiled, the security cameras he didn't know about, the receipts I'd photographed, the text messages I'd saved, brought 8 fire investigators to that parking lot on a Monday morning. And Gerald went from insurance salesman to federal inmate. The warehouse stands taller now, stronger, fireproof, like me.